Kate emerged from the shelter first, checking her environmental suit for any damage from the acid rain. Satisfied that everything was intact, she helped Zira dismantle their temporary home. The Zilari moved with graceful efficiency, her forearms making quick work of the task. We should reach the research station by midday if we maintain a steady pace. Zira said, her golden eyes scanning the horizon. The landscape before them was alien in every sense of the word. Tall spires of crystal rock, formations jutted from the purple soil, while low-hanging clouds the color of copper drifted above strange creatures that looked like a cross between birds and jellyfish floated in the distance. Kate nodded, trying to focus on their mission rather than the fact that, according to Zilari custom, she was now mated to the alien walking beside her. Should we collect samples from the eastern mineral pools first? Those showed the most promising signs of the bacteria we're looking for. Zira agreed, her head crest shifting to a deeper shade of blue, which Kate now recognized as a sign of scientific interest. You are wise to prioritize our mission. My people value dedication to duty, even during personal transitions. Personal transitions. That was one way to describe accidentally getting alien married, Kate thought. As they walked, Kate couldn't help but notice how Zira positioned herself between Kate and any potential dangers. Her tall form seemed to constantly scan for threats, a behavior Kate hadn't noticed before. Was this new, or had Zira always been protective of her? Perhaps this was part of the Zilari mating behavior. The terrain grew rougher as they approached the mineral pools. The ground beneath their feet changed from purple soil to a crystalline surface that reflected the light of Zilarian sun in dazzling patterns. Kate had to adjust the tint on her helmet to avoid being blinded. Watch your step here. Zira cautioned, one of her lower hands reaching out to steady Kate. As she navigated a particularly slippery patch, these crystals form over thermal vents. The heat makes them unstable. Thanks. Kate said, her hand lingering in Zira's longer than necessary. The alien's skin was warm through their protective gloves, and Kate found the contact oddly comforting. They reached the mineral pools by mid-morning. The pools were not water, but a thick mercury-like substance that bubbled and shifted colors from silver to deep blue. The bacteria they were studying lived in this toxic environment, somehow thriving where no Earth life could survive. Kate set up her sampling equipment, while Zira established a perimeter of sensors to alert them to any dangerous shifts in the pool's behavior. They worked in comfortable silence, the rhythm of their movements suggesting a partnership that had existed far longer than the few weeks they had known each other. As Kate collected her samples, she found her thoughts drifting back to their conversation in the shelter. The concept of being mated to Zira was still shocking, but she couldn't deny that she found the Zilari fascinating, perhaps even attractive in an alien way. The thought surprised her. Kate, what do your readings show? Zira asked, breaking into Kate's thoughts. Kate looked down at her instruments. The bacterial count is higher than our previous samples, and look at this. She pointed to a readout on her device. These organisms are showing signs of communication with each other. There's a pattern to their movements. Zira leaned closer, her golden eyes wide with excitement. This could be evidence of collective intelligence. Primitive but significant. She reached out with one of her upper arms to adjust Kate's scanner. This is a remarkable discovery, mate. The word mate, spoken so casually, made Kate flush. She was glad her helmet hid her reaction. Still, she couldn't help but feel a small thrill at being part of such an important scientific find. Especially with Zira. They spent hours documenting the bacteria, collecting samples and recording their observations. The scientific discovery temporarily pushing aside the complications of their personal situation, Kate found herself enjoying Zira's company, her insightful observations, and the elegant way she theorized about their findings. By late afternoon, they had gathered all the data they needed for this expedition. Kate felt a sense of accomplishment as they packed up their equipment. Their research could lead to breakthroughs in understanding how life evolved in toxic environments, perhaps even leading to new medical treatments or environmental cleanup methods. As they began the journey back to the research station, Kate noticed dark clouds gathering on the horizon. Another storm was coming. We should increase our pace, Zira said, her voice concerned. The next storm system will be more severe than last night's. The acid concentration will be higher. Kate nodded, picking up her pace. But the terrain was treacherous and she misjudged a step. Her boot slipped on the crystal surface and she felt herself falling towards one of the mineral pools. In an instant, Zira was there, all four arms reaching out to grab Kate, pulling her back from the edge of the toxic pool. The momentum sent them both tumbling to the ground, Zira twisting her body to cushion Kate's fall. They landed with Kate on top of Zira, their helmets clinking together. The Zalaris golden eyes were wide with concern. "Are you injured, mate?" "No. I'm fine, thanks to you," Kate said breathlessly suddenly. Aware of how close they were even through their protective suits, Zira's quick reaction had saved her from serious injury, or worse. She felt a surge of gratitude and something else, something warmer. Zira helped Kate to her feet, checking her environmental suit for any tears or damage. Finding none. She seemed to relax, though she kept one of her lower hands on Kate's arm as if afraid to let her go. "We must move quickly." "Now," Zira said. "The storm approaches." They hurried across the crystalline landscape, the research station coming into view just as the first drops of acid rain began to fall. The small outpost was a dome of Earth technology reinforced with Zalari materials, a physical representation of the cooperation between their species. They made it inside, sealing the airlock behind them just as the storm hit in full force. The sound of acid rain hitting the dome was like thousands of tiny metal beads being dropped onto a drum safe inside. They removed their environmental suits, Kate feeling a sense of relief as she took off her helmet and breathed the filtered air of the station. Zira removed her suit as well, her purple skin seeming to glow under the station's lights. "You saved my life out there," Kate said, finally addressing what had happened. "Thank you." Zira made a gesture with her upper arms that Kate hadn't seen before. "It was my duty and my honor to protect my mate," she said, her voice soft. "To lose you would be to lose part of myself." The words touched something in Kate despite her continued confusion about their situation. She realized that whether or not she had intended it, Zira truly considered them bonded, and the Zalari had demonstrated her commitment by putting herself at risk to save Kate. The blue light from the 3 moons of Zalarian shone through the thin fabric of the emergency shelter Kate Adams had managed to set up before the acid rain began to fall. Kate checked her oxygen levels again and sighed with relief. There was enough to last through the night if she was careful. She looked at her companion, the alien woman called Zira, whose purple skin seemed to shimmer in the dim light of their portable lamp. Zira was tall, almost 7 feet, with 4 arms and large golden eyes that never seemed to blink. Her species, the Zalari, had contacted Earth just 5 years ago, and this scientific mission was one of the first joint ventures between humans and aliens. What Kate did not know was that in Zalari culture, sharing shelter during a storm was considered a formal mating ritual. "I did not expect the weather to turn so quickly," said Kate, pulling her thermal blanket tighter around her shoulders. Zira nodded her head, crest rising slightly, and what Kate had learned was a sign of agreement. "The storms on my world are predictable but fierce. Your human technology is impressive to withstand such conditions." Kate smiled. The compliment felt good, especially coming from a being whose civilization had mastered interstellar travel thousands of years before humans had even invented the wheel. The rain pounded harder against their shelter, the sound almost drowning out their conversation. "Why did you choose to come to Zalarian?" asked Zira, her golden eyes fixed on Kate. "Your world is safer, more comfortable." Kate thought about it for a moment. "I guess I always wanted to see what was out there beyond our solar system. When your people contacted us, it felt like a dream come true. As a biologist, I wanted to study life forms we never imagined could exist." What Kate did not realize was that her honest answer was following another Zalari mating custom, the sharing of life goals and aspirations. Zira moved closer, her lower hands gently arranging the blanket around Kate while her upper hands adjusted the heating unit. "Your passion for knowledge is admirable. Many humans fear us." "Some do," admitted Kate. But fear often comes from not understanding. When we learn about each other, that fear usually goes away. The shelter grew, warmer, and Kate felt herself relaxing. Zira's scent was strange but not unpleasant, like a mix of cinnamon and something metallic. Back on Earth, Lily and Meg are probably worried sick about me. Kate said, thinking of her sister and best friend. They told me not to volunteer for this mission. You have a family unit that cares for you. Asked Zira. Yes, though it's just my sister and me now. Our parents died when I was young. Lily raised me. She's 10 years older. Zira's head crest flattened a gesture Kate had never seen before. In my culture, sharing shelter and speaking of family bonds completes the first stage of life partnership. Kate blinked, not fully understanding. What do you mean? Life partnership. In your terms. We are now mated, explained Zira, calmly as if discussing the weather. You have accepted my protection during dangerous conditions, shared your life goals, and spoken of your family bonds. These are the 3 pillars of Zilari mating. Kate's jaw dropped. Wait, what? No. I didn't know. That's not what I intended. Zira tilted her head, her golden eyes showing confusion. Is this displeasing to you? Among my people, it is considered a great honor to mate with a scientist of high standing. Kate took a deep breath, trying to process this cultural misunderstanding. I'm flattered, really. But on Earth, we have different customs for mating. Marriage. We date for a while, get to know each other, then decide to get married. Zira's upper arms made a flowing gesture that Kate had learned, meant understanding. But we are in my world following my people's customs. Does this not take precedence? The logic was hard to argue with. Kate had to admit she was on Zilarian after all, but still becoming accidentally married or mated to an alien she had known for only 3 weeks was not in her mission plans. I think we need to discuss this further, said Kate carefully. I respect your customs, but this is very sudden for me. Zira seemed to consider this. The storm will last until morning. Perhaps we can use this time to know each other better as your Earth customs require. Kate nodded, relieved. Is there a way to maybe pause this mating process? Zira's head crest rippled in what Kate had learned was amusement. No pause. But there is a customary period of 7 Zilarian days for new mates to learn each other's ways. It is called the bonding phase. 7 Zilarian days was roughly 2 Earth weeks. Kate calculated that might be enough time to figure out how to undo this accidental marriage without causing an interplanetary incident. Tell me about your world, Kate said, deciding to make the best of the situation. As the night progressed, Kate learned about the crystal forests of Zilarian, where the trees grew from mineral deposits rather than organic matter. She heard about the annual festival of 3 moons when all Zilari would gather to perform intricate dances with all 4 arms moving in perfect harmony. Kate found herself fascinated by the rich history and culture of her accidental mates. Species in return, Kate told Zira about Earth, about the oceans and mountains, about the various cultures and languages that made up humanity. She showed Zira pictures on her tablet of New York City where she had grown up, of the Grand Canyon she had visited as a teenager, and of her small apartment with its window garden. As they talked, Kate began to notice things about Zira she hadn't before. The way her head crest changed colors slightly when she was excited, the gentle movements of her lower arms that seemed to express emotions her face could not, the melodic quality of her voice when she spoke of things she loved. Morning came too quickly, Kate thought, as the first rays of Zilarian's sun began to filter through their shelter. The acid. Rain had stopped, and soon they would need to continue their research mission, collecting samples from the nearby mineral lakes. The thought of returning to normal research activities after such a life-changing night felt strange to Kate. She wasn't sure how to proceed with their relationship or non-relationship or whatever it was now. The next few days fell into a rhythm as Kate and Zira continued their research during the day and spent evenings in the small common area of the research station. Kate found herself growing more comfortable with Zira's presence, her initial shock about their accidental mating fading into a curious interest. The research station was small, with only 4 other scientists in residence, 2 humans and 2 Zilari. All of them were focused on their own projects, giving Kate and Zira plenty of time. Alone together on the fourth evening after the storm, Kate sat at her workstation analyzing the bacteria samples they had collected. The patterns of communication between the microorganisms were unlike anything she had ever seen on Earth. She was so absorbed in her work that she didn't notice Zira approaching until one of the Zalaris' lower hands placed a steaming cup beside her. "You have not eaten in 6 hours." Zira said, her head crest shifting to a color that Kate now recognized as concern. "I have prepared a nutrient drink suitable for human consumption." "Thanks," Kate said, surprised by the thoughtful gesture. She took a sip and found the flavor pleasant, like warm cinnamon tea with a hint of something fruity. "This is good." Zira settled into the seat beside Kate, her tall form somehow making the standard issue chair look elegant. "I have been studying human nutritional needs," she admitted. "My people believe that caring for one's mate's physical well-being is an important aspect of bonding." Kate felt a warmth spread through her that had nothing to do with the drink. "That's actually really sweet," she said before she could stop herself. She added, "On Earth, couples sometimes cook for each other too. It's a way of showing care." Zira's golden eyes seemed to brighten. "Is this an aspect of Earth mating rituals?" Kate laughed softly. "I wouldn't call it a ritual exactly. But yes, sharing food, preparing meals for each other. It's part of how humans bond." Zira looked pleased, her head crest rippling with subtle color changes. "Then we have this in common. Despite our different worlds, would you teach me to prepare human foods?" The request was so earnest that Kate found herself nodding. Without thinking, she reached out and placed her hand on one of Zira's lower arms. Like that. The contact sent a strange but not unpleasant tingling sensation up Kate's arm. She pulled back quickly, unsure of what had happened. Zira's golden eyes widened. "Physical contact between mates creates a biochemical reaction," she explained. "It is how our bodies recognize each other." "Did you feel it?" Kate nodded, unable to deny the sensation. "Yes, it was like a tingle. That is the beginning of the bonding process." Zira said, her voice soft. "It will grow stronger with time." The implication that their bodies were somehow becoming compatible should have frightened Kate. Instead, she found herself fascinated by the concept. It was like discovering a new species, a new biological phenomenon. And Kate had always been drawn to the unknown. "Tell me more about Zalari bonding," she said, turning away from her work to give Zira her full attention. "Is it just physical, or is there more to it?" Zira seemed pleased by Kate's interest. "The physical connection is only the beginning," she explained. "It establishes a foundation, but true bonding occurs through shared experiences, mutual respect, and growing knowledge of each other. In ancient times, before our people reached the stars, bonding was necessary for survival. Now it is a choice, though. Some traditional customs remain, like sheltering together during storms," Kate said with a small smile. "Yes." Zira acknowledged, her head crest shifting to a shade that Kate hadn't seen before. "Though I must confess, I did not inform you of this custom when we took shelter." "I should have." Kate was surprised by the admission. "Why didn't you?" Zira looked down, her four hands moving in a pattern that suggested embarrassment. "I feared you would refuse shelter and risk harm to yourself. The storm was dangerous, and She hesitated. "I found myself drawn to you from our first meeting. Your curiosity, your kindness, your strength. These are highly valued traits among my people." Kate felt herself blushing at the compliment. "So you've been interested in me all along?" Zira nodded. "I have observed you with growing admiration. Since we began working together, I have noticed your dedication to understanding, rather than simply knowing, your respect for all forms of life, and your willingness to adapt to new situations. These qualities would make you honored among my people even without our mating." The sincerity in Zira's voice touched Kate deeply. No one had ever described her in such thoughtful terms, seeing past her scientific achievements to the values that drove her. "It's strange," she said softly, "but I feel like you understand parts of me that most humans never notice." Zira's head crest shifted to a warm golden color that matched her eyes. "Perhaps that is the beginning of true bonding, understanding beyond surface appearance." Kate found herself considering for the first time that this accidental mating might not be such a disaster after all. There was something about Zira, something that called to her scientific mind, but also to something deeper, something human, yet universal. The desire to be truly seen and understood. Their moment was interrupted by an alert from the station's communication system. Kate turned to check the message, a small smile forming on her face. "It's from my sister, Lily," she said. "She sent a video message. Would you like privacy to view it?" Zira asked already. Rising from her seat, Kate surprised herself by saying, "No, please stay. I'd like you to meet her." Even if it's just through a recording, Zira's head crest rippled with what Kate now recognized as pleasure. "I would be honored." Kate activated the screen and Lily's face appeared. Her sister looked worried but was trying to hide it behind a smile. "Hey, little sis," she said. "Just checking in since I haven't heard from you in a few days. Meg and I are planning a welcome home party for when you get back next month. She misses you almost as much as I do. Send us a message when you can. Love you." The message ended, and Kate felt a pang of homesickness mixed with guilt. She hadn't told her sister about the accidental mating, or about the growing feelings she was developing for Zira. "I should respond," Kate said, reaching for the record button. Zira nodded but stayed silent as Kate began her message. "Hey, Lily," Kate said, smiling into the camera. "I'm doing great. The research is going amazingly well. We've discovered a form of bacteria that communicates in patterns almost like a primitive language." She paused, then made a decision. "There's someone I want you to meet, my research partner, Zira." She motioned for the Zalari to join her in the frame. Zira moved gracefully into view, her tall purple form contrasting with Kate's smaller human one. "Greetings, Lily of Earth." Zira said, her voice formal but warm. "I am honored to meet the one who raised Kate. She is a remarkable scientist and a valued companion." Kate felt a surge of affection at Zira's words. She decided not to mention the mating situation yet. That was a conversation that needed to happen in person when she returned to Earth. Instead, she finished the message with reassurances about her safety and promises to communicate more regularly. After sending the message, Kate turned to Zira. "Thank you for joining me." "It was my honor," Zira replied. "Will your sister accept our bonding?" Kate sighed. "I haven't exactly told her yet." Zira tilted, her head, her golden eyes curious. "Are you ashamed of our connection?" "No," Kate said quickly, surprised by how true it was. "I'm not ashamed at all. It's just complicated. Humans don't usually mate for life with someone they've just met, especially not someone from another planet. It's a lot for anyone to process, including me." As the Zalarian days passed, Kate found herself growing more comfortable with the idea of being bonded to Zira. The 7-day bonding phase that Zira had mentioned was nearly complete, and Kate still hadn't found a way to explain that she wanted to slow things down. Instead, she found herself looking forward to their conversations, their shared meals, and even the brief touches that sent that strange, tingling sensation through her body. On the 7th day, Zira approached Kate with an unusual request. "Kate, mate, would you join me for the completion ceremony tonight?" Kate looked up from her work. "What exactly is the completion ceremony?" "It marks the end of the bonding phase." Zira explained, her head crest shifting through several colors that Kate had come to associate with nervous excitement. "It is a private ritual between mates, a time to decide if the bond will continue or dissolve." Kate felt a flutter of anxiety. "So if I wanted to end this accidental mating, this would be the time?" Zira's golden eyes dimmed slightly. "Yes. If that is your wish, the bond can be dissolved with no dishonor to either of us." Kate was surprised by the twinge of sadness she felt at the idea. "And if I wanted to continue, then we would complete the bond," Zira said, her voice soft. "It would be recognized by all Zalari and registered with your Earth authorities as well." Kate took a deep breath. "That's a big decision." Zira nodded, all 4 of her hands making a gesture of agreement. "It is not to be taken lightly. The Ceremony begins at moonrise. Will you join me then to make your decision? Kate nodded, feeling both nervous and strangely excited. You'll be there, as Zira left. Kate turned back to her work but found it hard to concentrate. Her mind kept returning to the decision she faced. Did she want to end this accidental relationship or see where it might lead? She had never been one to make impulsive decisions, her scientific mind always weighing evidence and considering outcomes. Yet there was something about Zira that made her want to take a leap of faith. The hours passed quickly, and soon it was time to meet Zira. Kate changed from her work clothes into the nicest outfit she had brought to Zalarian, a simple blue dress that Lily had insisted she pack, just in case. Looking in the mirror, Kate barely recognized herself. The woman who had come to Zalarian was a dedicated scientist focused only on her research. The woman looking back at her now had softer eyes, a slight flush to her cheeks, and a nervous smile. Zira was waiting in a small garden area that had been created within the research station. A dome of clear material allowed the light of all 3 moons to shine through. Zira had changed as well, wearing what Kate assumed was formal Zalari attire, a flowing garment made of material that seemed to shift colors with every movement. You look beautiful, Kate said before she could stop herself. Zira's head crest rippled with pleasure. As do you, mate. Your eyes reflect the moon's light like the crystal pools. Kate smiled at the compliment. So how does this ceremony work? Zira gestured to a small table where 2 cups and a glowing container sat. We share a drink that contains elements from both our worlds, she explained. Then we speak our intentions. If we both wish to continue, the bond becomes complete. If either wishes to dissolve, no words need be spoken. The drink simply passes from our bodies with no effect. It seemed simple enough, Kate thought. Yet the symbolism was powerful. 2 worlds coming together just as 2 beings might. Zira poured a shimmering liquid from the container into the 2 cups. The liquid changed color as it filled each cup, turning a deep blue in one and a warm gold in the other. These represent our blood chemistries, Zira explained. The blue is mine. The gold is a synthetic match for yours. If we choose to bond, they will become compatible. Kate took the gold cup, her hand steady despite her nerves. This won't poison me. Will it? Zira's head crest rippled with amusement. No, the chemical compounds have been carefully formulated by our scientists to be safe for humans should you choose to bond. If you choose to dissolve, it will pass through you harmlessly. Kate nodded, appreciating the scientific approach even to a ritual. Is there anything special I need to say or do? Zira shook her head. Only speak from your heart or remain silent. Your choice, your words. They stood facing each other, cups in hand, the 3 moons of Zalarian casting their light through the dome, creating patterns across their skin. Kate looked into Zira's golden eyes and saw patience, understanding, and something else. Something that looked very much like hope. Zira spoke first, lifting her cup. Kate, atoms of earth. You came to my world seeking knowledge. I did not expect to find a mate. Yet when the storm brought us together, I recognized something in you that called to me. Your curiosity matches my own. Your courage rivals any Zalari warrior. Your heart, though different in form, beats with a rhythm that mine recognizes. I wish for our bond to continue. If you do not share this wish, I will honor your decision with no ill feeling. The sincerity in Zira's voice touched Kate deeply. She looked down at the golden liquid in her cup, wondering what it would mean to truly bond with this alien being. Their worlds were so different, their biologies incompatible in so many ways. Yet in the short time they had known each other, Kate had felt more understood, more appreciated for who she truly was than in any human relationship she had experienced. Kate took a deep breath and began to speak. Zira of Zalarian, I came to your world for science, not love. She smiled. When we took shelter together, I had no idea what it would mean in your culture, but these past days have shown me something unexpected. She looked directly into Zira's golden eyes. You see me not just as a human or a scientist, but as Kate. You value the things about me that matter most to me. You challenge me to see beyond my human perspective, and I find myself wanting to know you better, to understand your world through your eyes. She lifted her cup. I don't know what the future holds, but I want to find out together. I choose to continue our bond. Zira's head crest bloomed, with colors so vivid that Kate gasped in wonder. The Zalari lifted her cup. I too choose to continue. They drank together, Kate tasting something sweet and slightly metallic. The liquid seemed to warm her from the inside, spreading through her body, like golden light. For a moment, nothing happened. Then she felt it. The tingling sensation she had experienced when touching Zira, but stronger, spreading through her entire body. She gasped as her vision shifted briefly, colors becoming more vivid, sounds more clear. I can feel you, Kate, whispered, amazed at the sensation. It was not like telepathy. Not exactly. More like an awareness, a sense of Zira's presence that hadn't been there before, and you. Zira said, her golden eyes wide with wonder. The bond is forming. Kate felt a moment of panic. Is this permanent? Not yet. Zira assured her. The full biological bonding takes time. This is only the beginning. It will strengthen with proximity and weaken with distance. You can still change your mind in the coming lunar cycle. The knowledge that she wasn't irrevocably changed calmed Kate. She reached out, taking one of Zira's lower hands in her own. The familiar tingling was there, but now it felt pleasant, comforting. What's the next step? Kate asked. Register our bonding with both our peoples, Zira explained. Then we have choices. We can continue our research here, maintain separate dwellings as we have been, or she hesitated, or Kate prompted, or we can share living space as most bonded pairs do, Zira finished. Though I understand if that is too much too soon for you. Kate considered this. I think separate rooms for now. But she smiled. Maybe we could spend more time together outside of work. Get to know each other better. Zira's head crest rippled. With pleasure, I would like that very much. As they stood there, hands joined under the light of 3 moons, Kate felt a sense of adventure, unlike anything she had experienced before. She had come to Zalarian to study alien life, never expecting to become part of it. Yet here she was, bonded to a being from another world, feeling the beginning of something that transcended both their species. 3 months had passed since the completion ceremony. Kate and Zira had fallen into a comfortable routine, dividing their time between scientific research and learning about each other. Their bond had grown stronger with each passing day, the biological connection allowing them to sense each other's emotions across short distances. Kate sat at her workstation, reviewing the final data from their bacteria study. The results were more promising than either of them had hoped. The communication patterns they had discovered could potentially lead to breakthroughs in treating diseases on both their worlds. Zira entered the lab, her head crest bright with excitement. Kate, mate, I have received news from the High Council. They wish to present our findings at the Grand Science Summit next month. It is a great honor. Kate looked up with a smile. That's amazing, she said, genuinely pleased. The Grand Science Summit was the most prestigious scientific gathering on Zalarian, attended by researchers from across their star system and now Earth as well. There is more. Zira continued, moving closer, her 4 hands making excited gestures. They have invited you specifically to present as the first human lead researcher at the summit. Kate felt a surge of pride, mixed with nervousness. But wouldn't you be better? You understand the cultural significance better. Zira shook her head, her golden eyes warm. Your perspective is unique, valuable. It shows the success of our cooperation, not just in science but in understanding. The unspoken implication was clear. Their bonding represented a new level of cooperation between their species, an example of how humans and Zalari could work together, live together, even love together. Kate reached out, taking one of Zira's hands. The familiar tingling had become a comfort, now a reminder of their connection. I accept, she said. Then a thought occurred to her. But this means I'll need to stay on Zalarian longer. My return flight to Earth is scheduled for next week. Had hoped you might consider extending your stay. Zira admitted. Kate thought about Earth, about Lily and Meg, about her apartment with its window garden. She had been away for months already, but the work they were doing was important, and her feelings for Zira had grown into something she couldn't ignore. I should contact Mission Control, Kate said. And I need to tell Lily, Zira nodded, understanding the importance of family bonds to humans. She had learned much about human customs, just as Kate had learned about Zalari ways. Their differences had become points of interest rather than obstacles. Later that evening, Kate sat before the communication screen, waiting for her call to connect to Earth. When Lily's face appeared, Kate felt a wave of homesickness. Sis, Lily said, her smile bright. How are things on the alien world? Good, Kate said. Really good. I have something important to tell you. She took a deep breath. Remember my research partner? Zira. Lily nodded. The tall purple one with 4 arms? Right, well, Kate hesitated, then decided to simply say it. We're bonded. According to Zalari custom, we're essentially married. There was a moment of silence as Lily processed this information. Then she burst out laughing. You went to another planet for research and accidentally got alien married. Classic Kate move. Kate hadn't expected that reaction. What do you mean? Lily wiped tears of mirth from her eyes. You always dive headfirst into the unknown, little sis. Remember when you were 10 and decided to camp in the backyard during that thunderstorm because you wanted to study lightning? Or when you adopted that stray cat, even though you were allergic, because you wanted to understand feline behavior? This is just you on a cosmic scale. Kate felt relief flood through her. So you're not mad. Lily shook her head. Why would I be mad? The only thing that matters is, are you happy? Kate nodded without hesitation. I am. Zira understands me in ways no one ever has, and the work we're doing together, it's groundbreaking. Then, I'm happy for you, Lily said, her expression softening. When do we get to meet this alien in-law of ours? About that, Kate said. I'm extending my stay on Zalarian. Our research is being presented at their big science summit next month. Lily's smile dimmed slightly, but she nodded. I figured you might stay longer. You never do anything halfway, Kate. Just promise you'll visit sometime. I want to meet this Zira in person. I promise. Kate said, feeling a surge of affection for her sister. And maybe you could visit us here someday. The Zalari are opening a cultural exchange program for humans. Lily's eyes widened. Me on an alien planet. That sounds terrifying. She paused. And absolutely fascinating. Maybe next year when Meg can get time off too. They talked for a while longer about Earth news and Lily's work. When they finally said goodbye, Kate felt lighter. The approval of her sister meant more than she had realized. Zira was waiting in their shared living space when Kate returned. The Zalari had been giving Kate privacy for her call, though. Their bond had allowed her to sense Kate's emotional state. Your sister accepts our bond, Zira said, her head crest a pleased shade of blue. Kate nodded. She wants to visit someday. And she laughed. I quote, classic. Kate moved to get alien married while on a research mission. Zira's head crest rippled with amusement. I am learning that humans express affection through gentle mockery. It is not unlike how young Zalari tease each other during growth phase. Kate smiled, settling beside Zira on the couch they had modified to accommodate both their body types. I have something to ask you, she said suddenly. Serious. Zira's golden eyes focused on her. Yes, mate. Would you consider coming to Earth with me after the summit? I mean, we could visit for a few weeks, then return. Here Zira was silent for a moment, her head crest shifting through several colors. I have never left Zalarian, she admitted. The thought is both frightening and exciting. Kate took one of Zira's hands. You showed me your world. Now I want to show you mine through their bond. Kate could feel Zira's mixture of anxiety and curiosity. I would be honored to see your world, Zira said finally, and to meet your sister and friend. Kate smiled, leaning against Zira's tall form. He'll show you the oceans and mountains I told you about, and real trees, not the crystal kind, and pizza. You have to try. Pizza. Zira wrapped one of her lower arms around Kate, her upper arms making a gesture of contentment. I look forward to experiencing Earth through your eyes, just as you have experienced Zalarian through mine. In that moment, Kate realized how far she had come from the scientist who had arrived on this alien world focused only on research. She had discovered something far more valuable than scientific knowledge. She had found connection across the stars, a bond that transcended species. The next morning, Kate and Zira returned to their lab, continuing their work on the bacteria samples. As Kate looked through her microscope, she felt Zira's presence beside her. The Zalari was making notes, her forearms moving in coordinated efficiency. Kate took a moment to simply observe her mate, still amazed by the series of events that had brought them together. A sudden storm in emergency shelter, a cultural misunderstanding that had led to something neither of them could have predicted. Zira looked up, sensing Kate's attention through their bond. "Is something wrong, mate?" "Nothing," Kate said with a smile. "Just thinking about how sometimes the greatest discoveries happen by accident." Zira nodded her head, crest rippling with affection. "Indeed. And I believe our accidental bonding may prove to be the most significant discovery of all." As they returned to their work, Kate couldn't help but agree. Their bond was more than a personal connection. It represented a new possibility for both their species, a future where humans and Zalari could understand each other not just intellectually but emotionally. 3 weeks later, Kate stood before the gathered scientists at the Grand Science Summit, Zira beside her as they presented their findings. The audience was mostly Zalari, but there was a small delegation of humans as well, including representatives from Earth's scientific community. As Kate concluded her presentation explaining the potential applications of their research, she felt a surge of pride. The work they had done together was important. It could help both their worlds. But more than that, it was a testament to what could be accomplished when two different species, two different worlds came together. The applause was thunderous. Kate looked at Zira, seeing her own joy reflected in her mate's golden eyes. Through their bond, she could feel Zira's pride and love later. As they left the summit hall, one of the human delegates approached them. "Dr. Adams," the woman said, "I was skeptical when I heard a human and a Zalari had bonded. But seeing you two together, seeing what you've accomplished, I understand." Now she smiled. "You may have started a revolution not just in science but in interspecies relations." Kate took Zira's hand, feeling the familiar tingle of their connection. "Whatever the future holds," she said, looking up at her alien mate, "we'll face it together."